Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 iconic gaming bosses from the 2010s. For this list, we're taking a look at the various bosses that defined gaming between 2010 and 2019. Which bosses do you feel defined the decade? Did they make the list? Share with us in the comments below. Number 10. Handsome Jack, Borderlands 2.
Hey, you're right on time. Key's nearly ready. But before I cleanse this planet for good, I'm gonna avenge my daughter.
One of the reasons why Borderlands 2 is widely considered to be the best in the franchise and one of the best FPS games ever is because of this corporate psychopath. Handsome Jack spends the entire game berating and insulting you while showing no remorse for those who have fallen by his hand. This level of intimate hatred is what made the final fight against him and the Warriors such a fantastic climactic conclusion. Of course, the best part was offing him while he was in the middle of a rant. Number 9. Doc Ock, Marvel's Spider-Man.
You're fighting the wrong man. But have it your way.
Upon seeing Otto Octavius for the first time, a sense of dread overwhelmed us. Seeing him go from a kind-hearted scientist to a delusional and deranged madman made for a somber character arc, and it's why his boss fight resonated with so many Spidey fans. Surprisingly, he also puts up a heck of a fight, throwing debris and smacking you around with tremendous force. The battle also displays quite the spectacle with its detailed scenery, dreary color scheme, and skyscraper setting. Even if you aren't a fan of the web-slinger, you have to admit this brawl was pretty sick.
Think of the man you were! That man is gone. You can't save me, Peter. Then I guess you'll have to save yourself!
Number 8. Photoshop Flowey, Undertale. Undertale was celebrated for its charming characters, humorous writing, and unique approach towards making an RPG where you don't have to kill anyone. Of all the bosses featured, Photoshop Flowey was the most disturbing and intimidating, which has arguably made him just as iconic as Sans. Sure, the puny skeleton is just as challenging, but Photoshop Flowey's nightmarish design and intensity has allowed him to be ingrained in our mind. He's the kind of thing where as soon as you first see him, you can never unsee him, and that's what earns him a spot on our list. Number 7. Wheatley, Portal 2.
You know what? This plan is so good, I'm going to give you a sporting chance and turn off the neurotoxin. I'm joking, of course. Good fun.
When Wheatley betrayed us and took over Aperture, we were astounded that the quirky cue ball would deviate to a darker side so quickly. Much like Doc Ock, it was a moment where we had to say farewell to a companion in the most tragic way possible. Although this was actually an epic ending to Portal 2. From the way the game forces you to mix portals and goo, to the exceptional writing and dialogue, this was one trip to the moon we did not want to make. But it was necessary to save ourselves and let GLaDOS regain control of the labs. To this day, we wonder just how far Wheatley has traveled in the void of space.
Space!
Number 6. Calamity Ganon, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. When the Switch first launched, Breath of the Wild was all anyone could talk about, and when it came to boss fights, Calamity Ganon was everyone's obsession. For starters, the beast could be fought from the very beginning of the game, spawning a handful of speedruns and challenge attempts on social media. Even if you opted to play the game normally, players were given a thrilling battle that put your abilities to the test. Then, you have the second phase of the fight, when he transforms into Dark Beast Ganon. Let's face it, this is one of the best boss fights in Zelda history. Number 5. Ornstein and Smough, Dark Souls. For years, Ornstein and Smough have been considered to be the threshold of Dark Souls players, the true rite of passage in getting good. And rightfully so. In case you've never had to face these two, players must fight both warriors at the same time, and they are one of the hardest bosses in the Soulsborne games. Basically, you're dealing with two different attack patterns functioning independent of each other. On top of that, defeating one does not make the other easy, as the surviving member will gain advantages held by the fallen. So you're dealing with two consecutive boss fights overall. It's an incredibly tough battle, but so satisfying to be able to say you beat them. Number 4. Zeus, God of War 3.
Face me, father. It is time to end this.
Yes, my son. It is time.
By the time God of War 3 rolled around, we had grown used to hearing Kratos constantly yell out Zeus's name, and it made it hard to believe that the end was actually here. And what a boss battle it was. It's honestly hard to pick which portion of the fight was the best. You had the 2.5D Smash Bros-like duel before the traditional 3D fight. Then there was the bloody end of it all, where you beat Zeus so hard that the screen is covered in red. Not only was this a difficult and infuriating brawl, but it also brought Kratos' story to a beautiful and tragic close. Well, until we got 2018's God of War. Ishin, the Sword Saint. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. We absolutely could not leave off our 2019 Game of the Year, and Ishin the Sword Saint is one of the reasons why we gave the game our highest commendation. The duel against Ishin was exciting, intense, and challenging from start to finish, and it demanded complete understanding and mastery of the game's mechanics. Patience, precision, and focus were all key to bringing this adversarial foe down, and if the game was made easier in the slightest, the satisfaction in bringing him down would have not hit the same way. Number 2. Mr. Freeze, Batman Arkham City.
Oh, I believe I do. You will bring me Nora, or you will die.
The Batman Arkham games boasted a handful of excellent boss fights, as well as some not-so-great ones. Nevertheless, Mr. Freeze served as a worthy example of how to do boss fights right, and would set the standard of modern boss battles. Players couldn't just wail on him or keep spamming the same moves again and again. If you wanted to make it out alive, you needed to know how to set up and perform various takedowns. Mr. Freeze instilled Arkham City's unique takedowns in players by cutting them off of each maneuver after use. You really want to become the Dark Knight? Face Victor in New Game Plus. Hope you studied.
Please, find Nora. She's all I have left.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Margaret Baker, Resident Evil 7. Of course you'll remember this gross nightmare fuel. Spider Mastermind, Doom. This fight told us that Doom was back to rip and tear once again. The Devil, Cuphead, embodied the demented style of 1930s cartoons. Nightmare King Grim, Hollow Knight, one of the toughest boss battles of the indie scene.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower, Bloodborne.
Only an honest death will kill you now. Thank you from your wild curiosity.
Of all the Soulsborne games and pretty much every 2010 game, no boss fight has hit us the same way as the deadly Lady Maria. Even her weakest attacks prove lethal, and it won't be enough to just know your build. Lady Maria wields a plethora of attacks to finish you quickly, some of which carry an unbelievable range. Overall, Lady Maria served as a reminder to why we love Bloodborne, why we play From Software's games, and why to keep getting up no matter how many times we're knocked down. She's why so many players are begging for a sequel and a PS5 port, and that's why she is the most iconic boss of the 2010s.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.